So you don't have time to consume an entire podcast, that's okay. Enjoy the highlights on TRS Clips. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell icon. So is the purpose of economic growth, only to fuel war? Like what is going to happen after this? Say we actually battle the whole pandemic and the world kind of moves out of this pandemic situation. What next once China has those economic advantages, according to you?
See, we seem to think of war as bad. And it's natural for human beings to think of war as bad. It is undesirable. And you could look at it from the prism of good and bad. But the point is that war is inevitable. War always happens. In 5,000 years of recorded human history, I'm not saying human history, I'm saying recorded human history, we've hardly had 200 years of peace. Continuous peace. It is in man's nature to fight. It is in man's nature to wage war. It is in man's nature to kill. No, we are at the top of the food chain. We kill animals for food. We rule the world. How did we get there? We didn't get there by being nice. Human beings rule the roost today. They're at the top of the food chain because we killed everybody else. You see, so anybody who says that war is bad, I think is just being sanctimonious. This is natural. We are not saying good and bad. So we are not going there and saying that. Of course, it's avoidable. Absolutely. People die and nobody wants that to happen. But the fact of the matter is, this is human history. Yeah? We have been killing each other with bare hands. We've been killing each other with stones. And nothing has developed faster in this world than weaponization of normal objects. People used to use, flint and rock and stone to light fires. Then somebody took a piece of flint and tied it to a piece of wood and it became a spear and they started using it for hunting. So, weaponization of solar energy, weaponization of space, weaponization of everything. You see, today, people have weaponized social media. They've weaponized Twitter. These things keep on happening time and again, and this is our true nature. We must understand this is our true nature. I'm not, again, giving a certificate saying this is good or bad. This is our true nature, and one thing I'm saying that this will continue. War will keep on getting more sophisticated, and there will always be people with fat checkbooks who are willing to buy the latest and more sophisticated and efficient weapons that kill. So while we may say that, war is bad, and of course it is bad, but war is not going anywhere.
Yeah. So considering what the Chinese Communist Party is doing, do you think the purpose of war for them is just geographical expansion? Like, are they trying to expand the country? I mean, I know they kind of already are with the whole Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh angle. So for one, could you expand on that Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh angle? And two, could you expand on what you believe is the reason China is even kind of moving towards the possibility of warfare?
See, this is called war by other means. So there is a very famous saying that all war is deceit. Even in our Shastras, and they mention deception as a way of war. Kautilya's Arthashastra mentions 4 ways of getting a thing done. 4 ways by which an objective can be achieved, a nation's objective can be achieved. One is Sam. Sam is by way of convincing a person. This is what diplomats do. Dam. It is by way of economic benefit. For example, India sends vaccines free of cost to various countries. India helps in the reconstruction of Afghanistan. This is Dam. There is Dand. Dand is by way of military force, which is what the Indian armed forces do, which they do to China and Pakistan. And then there is Bhed. Bhed is by way of deception. That is what the intelligence agencies do. So this is a time-honored, a function of the government, how to achieve its aims outside and within its own territory. Number 2, you asked about China. You see, China has never put its military outside. The last big adventure it tried was in Vietnam, and it got hammered in 1979 in Vietnam. China, its economy really went forward. China is the second largest economy in the world today after the United States of America. And China uses its checkbook. You mentioned Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. China does not have boots on the ground in either of these 3 countries. Yeah. But what China does is, it typically selects the victims of the Chinese checkbook are typically small countries, countries which have been unstable politically, countries which have a corrupt elite or corrupt leadership, like in the case of Pakistan or Sri Lanka, and countries which, there are people vying for positions of power even violently. China typically moves into this space, and China occupies this space. For example, you must have heard of the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is looking for investment so that it can improve its infrastructure. Now, China says, okay, we'll build this port. China builds the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka. It builds the Gwadar port in Balochistan and Pakistan, right? Knowing fully well that Sri Lanka can never pay back the money invested, knowing fully well from day one that the return on investment on these ports is sunk. On the day the project started, the Chinese knew. So what you do is, you bribe a couple of senior people, you bribe them, they sign the contract on impossible terms. Whether in Hambantota port or in Gwadar, today Hambantota port, for all practical purposes, is Chinese territory. It is on a 99-year lease to China. This is exactly the same thing that is being done to Pakistan. I don't know if you're aware, but the Islamabad airport, the Karachi airport, the Lahore airport, the Multan airport has been mortgaged. There is a park in F9 in Islamabad. That entire park has been mortgaged. Pakistan International Airlines, the entire airline along with its aircraft, assets, helicopters, everything has been mortgaged. The Lahore-Faisalabad motorway, the Islamabad-Lahore motorway, 4 or 5 motorways have been mortgaged. The entire country, like you say in Hindi, pura mulk girvi hai. This is what I'm trying to say. So basically, this is economic warfare. This is dam. What China does is dam and bhed. So even the diplomats are called wolf warriors. There is an aggressive kind of diplomacy. Africa, you have a lot of unstable regimes in Africa. What does China do? It moves in. It talks to the corrupt elite. And you know what the key is? I sort of tried and figured it out. Let's say Pakistan takes a loan. Who sanctions the loan? Pakistan needs $5 billion. The sanctioning authority is the Prime Minister and the Parliament. The terms are hidden from the common people. The terms are hidden from the rest of the world because that is what the deal says, that you cannot reveal China-Pakistan Economic Corridor's terms and conditions. These are top secret, these are state secrets. So who decides that Pakistan has to take a loan? It is one individual. Who pays back? The entire nation pays back. How does it pay back? Rising fuel prices, rising gas prices, rising taxes. Today, because of this quote-unquote loan diplomacy, the State Bank of Pakistan, it's almost owned by the IMF, which is a Western body, which is not a Chinese body. But there are various parts of Pakistan that are owned by various other countries. Yeah, China owns their airports, China owns their motorways. Most of the real estate in Pakistan, the strategic real estate in Pakistan, is actually owned by China as we speak today. So this is war by other means. This is war by the checkbook. This is war by deception. This is war by corrupting the elite leadership of a country, small country, typically politically unsettled, taking advantage. China will never do that with India. China can never do that with India. It's impossible because our systems are transparent for most of the time. We have a strong political elite and India is a 130 crore people country. But smaller countries, Congo, yes. Tanzania, absolutely. Nigeria, let's do it. Pakistan, absolutely yes. Bangladesh, maybe with a little bit of a problem. Nepal, sure. Sri Lanka, absolutely. So this is how they function. Without boots on ground, without soldiers, just the checkbook.